Good day, my friends. I hope you're having a fantastic day, that you're being mindful of the enjoyment of life today that's leading you to be filled with joy. I want to do a little sidebar to this upcoming Sunday sermon. This upcoming Sunday, I'm going to be teaching about what should be our response to the turmoil that has gripped our country following the death of George Floyd. What should be our response to the social evil of racism and discrimination? So I hope you'll check that out this coming Sunday, but I want to do a little sidebar on one of the verses I'm using in the teaching on Sunday. In Luke chapter 12, verse 32, Jesus is recorded as having said this: "Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom." I mean, that's wonderfully good news. That through nothing we've done or anything we deserve, God has simply given us His kingdom. But then in the next verse it says this. Jesus says this: "Sell your possessions and give to the poor." And that verse, as I've been thinking about it this week, reminds me that there are teachings of Jesus that are really challenging, that are really tough, that almost seem extreme. And how do we deal with them? Does Jesus here mean really to sell everything you have and give to the poor, leaving yourself destitute? Of course, He doesn't say sell everything. He says sell your possessions. We know from other examples in the Gospels, in the New Testament, that followers of Jesus are commended for giving a portion of what they have, a sacrificial portion of what they have, to the work of the Lord. Zacchaeus, Barnabas, the collection that Paul was making to alleviate the suffering that was the result of the famine in Palestine. We know that Jesus teaches, and other places in the New Testament teaches, that we are to take care of our family and our relatives and our parents. Jesus once chastises the religious leaders because they don't give anything to their parents, because they say, hey, I got to give this to God. So we know that maybe it doesn't mean everything, and the Bible does teach that we are to give a portion, a tithe, 10%, to the work of God. I hope if you're a follower of Jesus, I hope you're stepping up or have stepped up to tithing, or maybe even beyond tithing, as a way of faithfully following Jesus. There's such a blessing in that. I know from my own years of experience with this. But you know, Jesus said this once to a rich young ruler. He did say, sell everything you have, give to the poor, and follow me. Now, was he just meaning that young ruler? You see, I think we ought to be a little cautious to water down, to explain away, to soft sell some of these tough, challenging statements of Jesus. I mean, here's some others. In Luke chapter 14, verse 26, Jesus is recorded as saying this: "If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even his own life, such a person cannot be my disciple." I mean, that's a tough one. And then we have in the record of the Sermon on the Mount of Jesus in Matthew chapters 5, verse 7, a whole bunch of these tough, challenging statements. Chapter 5, verse 22, if you are angry with someone, you're subject to judgment. I mean, I get angry with people sometimes, don't you? Verse 29 and 30 says, if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. That's tough. Verse 48, Jesus said, if someone strikes you on one cheek, turn to him the other. You know, pray for those who persecute you. Love your enemies. And then he concludes chapter 5 by simply saying this, verse 39, be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. I mean, these are tough statements, really challenging, almost extreme. How do we deal with these really super challenging statements of Jesus, teachings of Jesus? Some have said it's just Jewish hyperbole. Jesus was Jewish, and he's using Jewish hyperbole to, make his point. He's using an extreme example, maybe. Some have said there's some deeper meaning here that maybe we don't understand. Others have said these are examples of the law. The law that drives to the gospel. We can't possibly live up to these commands of Christ that force us to seek forgiveness at the cross of Christ. The law drives us to the good news of the gospel. I just say this, and those all may be true. They may be all good explanations, but I think we ought to be careful about trying to water down or soft sell, explain away some of these tough sayings of Jesus. In the midst of the tough sayings in the Sermon of the Mount recorded in Matthew 5 through 7, there is this one that Jesus says recorded in Matthew 6:22. Seek first God's kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. I think that's a summary statement about all these tough statements, that they're all teaching us this, that the Lord is to be the first in our life, above our possessions, above our family, above our own health, above our houses, above our entertainments, above our culture, above our country, above our politics, that our devotion to the Lord, to seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, that is to live by his values, come first in our lives, above all else. So be careful about trying to explain away or dismiss or ignore, water down these tough statements. Let them continue to be a challenge for us to keep the Lord first in our lives. I hope that's a word of encouragement for you today, that you'll continue to have a great day, and know this, that the Lord is with you today.